So today we're going to be talking about how to use the Google Ads grant to get new church guests. And so this is a really cool program that Google has, 501c3s, that gets churches. So like if you're a 501c3, you get up to $10,000 every single month in free Google Ads. And so today we're going to be breaking down, yes, how to get the grant, but actually how to optimize it and make sure everything's set up correctly to where you're actually getting new guests in your church's Sunday service. So I'm really excited about this. Now I want to give a little intro. So my name is Brady Sticker. I'm the student pastor. Actually, I was the student pastor at Vibrant Church up until earlier this year. I was able to raise up a leader. His name's Nate. He's an amazing guy who's taken over the student ministry to where I can really focus more on the social media side of things and helping our church as well as tons of other churches across the country use social media to reach more people. We've actually been running Facebook and Instagram and Google Ads for the last 7 years, and we actually manage over $3 million every single year in ad spend. So it's one of those things that we know what works. I'm actually the COO of our family's company, Cairo Candy Marketing, and I'm the founder of Church Candy Marketing. We work with over 400 churches and chiropractors all across the country, over 20 employees. I'm the author of Plan Your Visit Playbook. If you've seen my book or if you've gotten my book, drop in the comments. Let me know if you got it. If not, I'll show you how you guys can get a free copy during this presentation. And I would even have taught these strategies at Christ for the Nations Institute, as well as some other conferences and things like that. So I'm excited to be sharing some of these really cool strategies with you this afternoon. And then there's a picture of my beautiful wife, Sarah, and our lovely 1-year-old River. They're my everything. Everything I do is for them. River is actually just a couple of rooms over asleep right now. So if you hear a baby crying in the background, later that's who that is. So let's go ahead and jump in. So at Church Candy, we help churches get new guests with digital marketing. There's a lot of marketing companies out there for churches that do a really good job at graphic design. Or my buddy Rock Davis with Mr. Church Marketer, they do amazing stuff with print and some cool things with digital. But we really just focus on things that are going to help you and your church get a new guest show up on a Sunday morning. That way you can do what you do best and minister and disciple to them. So that's what we focus on. We don't do any kind of graphics with sermon slides or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not what we do. So our mission is to help churches actually get new guests in the building. Now, stay through this presentation to the end, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step walkthrough on actually how to get the grant. And so at the beginning, we're going to be talking about optimization and kind of the strategies to use these Google Ads to get new guests in the door. But at the end is when I'm going to do a walkthrough step-by-step on how you can actually get the grant, everything you need to fill out the forms and all of that. So stay till the end for that. Now, let's talk about the 3 secrets to getting new guests from the Google Ads grant. Now, number 1 is going to be the wrong way most churches use the Google Ads grant. And number 2 is going to be the one thing that you need on your church's website that most churches do not have. And then number 3, we're going to be going over the Plan Your Visit Playbook. I'm going to give you a crash course in my book. So let's go ahead and jump in, guys. Now, number 1, the wrong way most churches use the Google Ads grant. So if you go and I just picked a random city, I said churches in Kansas City. It's not going to be uncommon if you see these results like this, where it says ad next to it. So this is kind of super basic information. If it says ad next to it, that is an ad. And I think it's probably safe to say that these churches right here, there's a good chance that they are using the Google Ads grant. There's a really good chance for that. Now, here's where most churches mess up. Here's what most churches don't do and what they do wrong. See, the wrong way that most churches use the Google Ads grant. See, if all you do is target keywords like church near me or city name, Houston churches, things like that. If those are the only keywords that you're targeting with the Google Ads, there's not going to be enough search traffic that warrants a $10,000 a month ad credit. Does that make sense? Like there's not enough people in your city searching for churches to where you're even going to get close to that $10,000. See, whenever we first did this for our church, I was so excited. I was like, man, that's $10,000 a month. And I came from mainly a Facebook ads background. So we got the grant and I set up an ad campaign and I targeted keywords like church near me, churches in the Woodlands, Texas churches, non-denominational churches in the Woodlands, all of those, put it all inside one campaign. And I did some math. I was like, okay, well, if they give us $10,000 a month in free ads and they're asking for a daily budget, well, I just divided $10,000 by 30 and I said, yep, that's our daily budget. So it was like 300 something or whatever that number came out to. Well, we did that. And then a month later, I went back to check on the ads and we had spent about $7 worth of ad credits in those search campaigns. And I was like, oh, dang. And so we did a lot of tweaking. And so the wrong way is to just set up one campaign targeting just a couple of keywords that are mainly inward focused, like church near me, city name churches, things like that. You're not going to warrant even close to that. Now, if you've read my book, you've heard me talk about the shotgun strategy. Now, I used to go hunting all the time with my grandpa. And here's the thing. If I was going to go duck hunting, I would not bring a rifle. I would bring a shotgun. Because if I bring a rifle, you pull the trigger and one bullet comes out. Whereas if you pull a trigger on a shotgun, bunch of BB spray. It casts a wide net, so you have a lot higher chance of hitting that duck that's flying out in the side. Sorry if you're like, I'm from Texas. I'm like a country boy, so that's the kind of analogies that I use. And so I recommend creating tons and tons of variations, almost like you're using a shotgun, to where you create tons of variations and you're casting a wide net. Now, the right way most churches use that verb, I just took out wrong way, and I think you know what I mean by that. But you want to create separate campaigns for each variation of keyword. So churches in Houston, in Kansas City, churches near me, non-denominational churches near me, all of those different variations. Go in when you create the ads, create separate campaigns, and you're going to have a better likelihood of actually spreading out your budget and getting more bang for your buck. So you're not only spending like $7 a month in Google Ads credits. So that's one of the things that you want to do, is just create more variations. All right, so it says can't see the presentation. If you're not able to see it live, we will be sending out a replay to everyone after the presentation. So let's continue. So another thing that we found that works pretty well at getting some additional traffic to our website. All right, I just got an error message. Can you guys still see me in the chat? Okay, awesome. Sweet. So yeah, let's continue. So what we've found that works really well is every single page on your website, even if it's like as silly as the what we believe or the small groups. So you can actually set up Google ads going to those pages and targeting keywords like, is God real? Or what does the Bible say about X, Y, and Z? Or for small groups, you can set up Google ads for people that are looking for things to do or how to make friends. And you can even go on Google Ads keyword planner and you can see there's actually hundreds of people in, like I set it up just within our area where we're like a suburb of Houston. And there were hundreds of people searching for how to make friends, something as simple as that. And that's something that there's not going to be a lot of competition as far as other people running ads to those keywords. So as silly as it might sound, some of these different pages on your website, you can create ads going straight there and then target relevant keywords for people that are searching them. Now, if you really want to go all out, and we actually offer this as a done-for-you service, it's not for everyone. I don't recommend it for every church. But if you are a church that is a lot larger and you do want to take this to the next level, this is what we recommend doing. We could do it for you, or you could do it yourself, but it does take a lot of time. Every single Sunday, take your Sunday sermon and get it transcribed. We've used Otter AI, Descript, Rev.com. These are all softwares online that will get a transcription of any audio. You can also use a youth intern for that. But then you want to edit that transcription in the format of like a blog post. And then you can create a blog post on your church's website for every single sermon. Every single week, just get in the habit of creating a blog post on your church's website for whatever that topic of the sermon was about. You can also embed the video from that message on the page. And now you're creating more and more variations of types of content that you can run ads to. And I think if this is really good, because every single week, the longer you do this, the more and more and more closer you're going to be getting to that $10,000 a month threshold in Google Ads. So this is something that does take some work, but if you're able to develop a process for it, or you have the team for it, this works really, really well. Taking your sermons, getting it transcribed into like a blog post, and then sending traffic to that blog. For example, if your message was about faith, anytime someone searches, what does the Bible say about faith? You can target a Google ad to where that website page, that blog post that you put on your website, it shows up there at the top. So that's a solid way to actually get some more variations for this strategy. Now, number two, the one thing that you need on your church's website that most churches don't. So this is going to be something that I was actually very surprised whenever I went to go look for an example. I went to Church of the Highlands website for this example, and I was very surprised. They do not even have Church of the Highlands. They're the second largest church in America. They don't even have a Facebook tracking pixel set up on their website. So this is something that a Facebook tracking, you can see I've got the Chrome extension on my computer that shows me whether or not there's a Facebook pixel on there. But what the Facebook pixel does is it'll allow you to show ads to people that go to your website. You show them ads other places too, like Facebook, or I guess it's Meta now, on their platforms. So you can show Facebook ads to people if they go to your website. You can show Instagram ads to people that go to your website. And here's why this is so important. Just because they don't go to your website, just because they go to your website, it doesn't mean that they're going to visit on Sunday. So I found this article, and it was talking about it takes up to 13 touch points to have someone convert and take a next step. So for example, for someone that may be checking out your church, it's going to take you 13 touch points before they actually show up and decide to come on Sunday. Isn't that crazy? So that being said, it takes more than just sending traffic to your website if you're wanting to have someone actually show up on Sunday. See, I believe that the Google ads, that's just one piece of the puzzle. I've never met anyone that all the churches that I talk to that are doing the Google Ads grant, none of them are like, oh yeah, that's the secret sauce to we get tons of new guests from it. They might say, yeah, every once in a while we get some people from it. And so if you want to consistently get new guests from online, Google Ads are just one piece of the puzzle. Like I said earlier, just because they go to your website doesn't mean they're going to show up on Sunday. Now, here's why your website needs a Facebook tracking pixel. So the Facebook tracking pixel is really good because you can target people that go to your website, right? So look at this. People that live in your city, if you're setting up an ad on Facebook, and that's like going fishing in the ocean. Like you might be able to, if you go to the right spot, you might be able to find the right place. But if you're just targeting people that have been to your website, that's like, what's the expression? Shooting fish in a barrel, right? Man, I feel like such a country boy right now using the analogies of hunting and fishing in this presentation. I didn't even realize it. But you're able to essentially build a bucket of people that are qualified potential new guests compared to just showing it to everyone and anyone. So it's really, really good to get that Facebook tracking pixel set up on your website. And that's where retargeting comes in. So you can build out these little buckets of anyone that's been to your website. people that have just engaged with your Facebook and Instagram page, people that have watched any of your videos. And so retargeting is amazing because it lets you target people with ads on Facebook and Instagram that you know are more likely to show up. And here's a tip: you can even exclude church members. So like, you don't want to waste your money on ads on Facebook and Instagram because you have to pay for ads on there. Like, you actually have to put your credit card on file with Facebook and Instagram. But you don't want to waste money targeting people that are already going to your church. So you can actually upload a email list of everyone that like considers themselves a member, and you can set it to exclude these people. Facebook will find their profiles and not show them ads, so you know that the people seeing these ads are potential new guests. There's people that have checked you out, but they're not necessarily members. They're not inside your planning center database. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the comment, or just give me some engagement. Say, yes, that makes sense. Give me something in the comment. Yes, 1. Yes, awesome. Makes sense. So now let's kind of talk through the plan your visit playbook. So this is that's a picture of the book that I wrote. You can go to planyourvisitplaybook.com and you can actually order this book for free. I don't charge for the book. I just ask for you to pay for the cost of shipping. It's like $8. And this book walks you through step by step how to get people to plan a visit. And so this is going to be one of the key things to actually getting new guests from these Google ads. And if you decide to do ads on Instagram and Facebook as well, retargeting people that found you on Google, you want to make sure you have a good plan your visit strategy to show up, because this is it's a funnel, right? People up top, they're aware. That'd be like people that just see your ads on Google. They see that. And if they're interested, maybe they click on the ad. And then the decision would be whether or not they're planning a visit, and then action would be them showing up on Sunday. So that's the term and the walkthrough of a funnel. And so, for the longest time, I would see a lot of influencers in the church marketing space really hone down on engagement. Like, oh, how can we get more engagement online? We want to get more likes and comments. And really, the difference that I've found is, rather than trying to get engagement for the sake of engagement, rather than doing that, the new way of focus on lead generation, or like direct response marketing. We don't want a culture of just, oh yeah, I like and I comment on Facebook. No, we want to build disciples, and discipleship is getting people to take a next step in their walk with Jesus. And so this plan your visit strategy is kind of like that first step of like, hey, I'm going to go check out this church. And so it's a discipleship process online, direct response. You're getting them to take a next step. And so especially if you're using the Google Ads grant and you're sending traffic to some of these random pages on your website, because someone they went to your life groups pages because they were looking for things to do or how to make friends, add a button at the bottom of that page that says, want to join us in person on Sunday? Plan your visit, right? So just like you can see that example there. And so kind of to recap the plan your visit funnel, at the very first, they're going to see an ad on Facebook. People will see an ad on Instagram. They're going to see an ad on Google. And then, if they're interested, then that'd be people that actually click on that landing page. And then them making a decision is them going through and filling out a form to plan a visit. And then boom, action, you've got them to actually show up and they're a new guest at church. And like I said, discipleship is just helping people take a next step in their walk with Jesus. I'm really big on helping churches develop a next step culture. And so, a lot of that first step for a lot of people are going to be planning their visit online. So from there, like I just said, first step, people to find you online, get them to plan a visit. Now, one thing that we found is not everyone that plans a visit is going to show up. It's kind of a spectrum like this. And, on one side, you've got, people that are very engaged, that's the warm side. In business, people call it, it's a warm lead, if you've ever heard that term before. So a warm lead might be someone that found you on Google, or maybe one of your team members invited someone to church, then they looked your church up, and then they went to your website and planned to visit. It's going to be a warm lead, right? It's a referral. It's someone that was invited by one of their friends. And then on the other side of the spectrum, it's cold leads. these are going to be people that they don't know anyone that goes to your church. They weren't personally invited by someone. And, even if they did find you on Google, that's still not going to be super warm. They're probably going to be somewhere in the middle of that scale. And, or if they just found you on an ad on Instagram and Facebook, right? That they're not necessarily super bought in. And especially, I was talking to a pastor yesterday, and he was saying that he saw the average person that considers themselves like a part of a church attends about once every 7 weeks. And so that being said, not everyone that plans a visit is going to show up right away. A lot of the times it takes some nurturing. And, this is how we recommend warming up people that do plan a visit. So having a good follow-up strategy in place, automated texts, personalized selfie videos. I saw someone in the chat asked if we have a website with a best practices for plan your visit. If you're asking as far as like, an example, you can go to vibranthtx.com. You can see we've got the plan your visit stuff set up. That's my church that I go to. And so going back to this, how do you warm up people that plan to visit? Having a good follow-up strategy in place is really, really good. And what's awesome is you can even automate text messages. So once someone plans a visit, boom, they get a text and it says, "Hey, John, thanks so much for planning a visit. This is Pastor Brady from Vibrant Church. Quick question: how many people are coming with the Smith crew?" Right? Things like that to make it super personalized. And then when they do respond, we recommend using the Church Funnels app to where once they respond to that text, you can go on and just send them a little personalized selfie video right then and there. And that's something that we found that really increases the show rate of people that do plan a visit. Because there's not many churches out there these days that are taking that extra step to be personal and, especially if they get a video from the lead pastor saying, "Hey, John, this is Pastor Michael. Thanks so much for planning a visit. We can't wait to meet you and your family." Doing something like that, it really, really knocks it out of the ballpark and will leave a great first impression on that potential new guest where there's a high likelihood of them going to show up on Sunday. You've probably heard the stats of, all right, you need to make sure you guys leave a good first impression and make sure your welcome team is on point, because once a new guest pulls into the parking lot, within 10 minutes, they're making a decision whether or not they're coming back next week. Well, what if that doesn't even matter because we already made an incredible first impression with our follow-up strategy? And I'm a big believer on how you follow up determines whether or not they're going to show up. Does that make sense? And then retargeting is huge. So retargeting is like what I just said, making sure you've got people that know, like, and trust you. Retargeting would be if they go to your website, show them ads on Facebook. If they go to watch any videos, like we've really pushed making videos, whether it's sermon clips or videos of you talking into your phone, like an Instagram reel style video. Using those intentionally works really, really well for retargeting to warm people up in that regards. And then I get this question all the time. Okay, how much should I spend on ads? And so I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you guys. But I've got this really cool calculator that will walk you through step by step actually how much you should spend on Facebook and Instagram ads, especially if you're getting a lot of ad spend for free from Google. Well, on the flip side of that, you would have to pay for the ads on Instagram and Facebook. So let's kind of go over what that's going to look like. And so with this, you're able to plug in, okay, how many new guests do you want to come to your church? Man, it'd be awesome if we had 50, but let's just say, hey, I'd love 20 new guests that come to our church. Okay, well, on average, we find that each family that plans a visit, that's going to be on average about 2.4 people. And then, so because, they've got a wife, they've got a husband, they've got kids. And then what's the average show rate? And so this is really dependent on a couple of things. One, your how warmed up they are. Do you have a really good follow-up strategy in place? Or once they fill out the form, is it just going out into the ether and they don't hear from you? So a good follow-up strategy is huge, and we kind of talked about that. And so let's just be conservative and say you only get a 30% show rate of these families that plan a visit. And then the average cost. Lexi can tell you that this varies widely. We've got some churches that, they're paying like $5 for playing your visit. And then we've got others that pay closer to $30 to maybe even $50 for a person to plan a visit. And a lot of that has to do with your area as well as the type of content that you make for the ads. But with all these metrics, this tells us that we need about 27, we'll round up and say 28 people to plan a visit if we want to get 20 new guests in the door. And then we would need to spend about $556, we'll round up and say $560 in ads to make that happen. So I hope this makes sense. And this is really good too if you have like a board or your team's skeptical on running ads online. Well, if you have a proven plan and we know, okay, well, if we want to get 20 people in the door, yes, this is all per month. And so if we want to get 20 people in the door, well, then all X, Y, and Z's with these variables need to happen. So this is a really cool resource. So now I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go back to those slides and pick up where we left off. So let's kind of talk through the new guest turbine. So this is kind of a 30,000 foot view of that strategy, that whole strategy that we just covered. So you want to start with having an invite-based ad, whether it's an ad on Google, whether it's a Facebook, whether it's an Instagram ad. You want to at least just have the ability set up to give people a next step. And then what's awesome is Facebook and Instagram and Google, as long as you have the Facebook tracking pixel set up on your website, it doesn't end there. We're able to nurture the people that do engage, whether they plan a visit right then or not, and we can start retargeting. And so you can see right here that once they do start to engage with us, we're going to set it up to where every time they turn around on Instagram, every time someone turns around on Facebook, boom, they see you. And here's the thing, people, especially because this is ministry stuff, people are going to over spiritualize it. I hear all the time at our church, people will be like, man, I knew that God was calling me to Vibrant because every time I turned around, I kept seeing you guys on Instagram. And I kept seeing that Pastor Michael guy, and I just knew I needed to come visit. And so it's cool that really all that's happening is we're just setting this up, wisely, and we're letting Holy Spirit do the rest. And we're just planting seeds, and we know that Holy Spirit is going to move on their hearts, and they're going to make that decision to take that next step. And so, like I was saying earlier, we're really big on you need to be intentional with making some encouraging videos that aren't just, hey, come check out our church, we're so awesome, we do this and this. Make videos like, hey, here's 3 things you can do to improve your relationship with God, and things like that are just discipleship-based content that's going to uplift people, that is in the style and the format of what people are already used to seeing. And you can set that up on Instagram and on Facebook to where people keep seeing that. And then you have a call to action at the end of every video for people to plan a visit. And then you set it up to where once people do watch those videos, then they're hooked. And now every time they turn around, they keep seeing you, or they find you on Google, and then they start seeing these videos and they start seeing ads of you inviting them to your church. And so it's a very holistic strategy that's not just, hey, let's do what we can to get as many people in the door as possible. Where you're still doing ministry because you're making encouraging content that's discipling people online, and you're giving them a next step to plan a visit to your church to actually show up on Sunday. And so this new guest turbine, when implemented correctly, like really, really blows it out of the water for these churches. I got a text from one of our pastors that just started with us last month, and a month in, they already had their largest service of this year, even bigger than Easter. And so he was saying this is their largest service of the year since before COVID. or not before COVID, but since COVID happened, this is the largest service they've had. And so it's really cool seeing this play out effectively. You can do amazing things with social media, with using the Google Ads grant to build that bucket of people that are interested in coming to your church, and then have that the follow up online on Instagram and Facebook to where they see your content there. So it's a really, really cool strategy that you're able to use to actually get new guests with that grant that Google gives you. So you're creating tons of variations with the Google Ads. And when people do go to your website, you give them a next step to plan a visit. Even if they don't plan a visit right then, that's fine, because then we know when they go to Instagram, when they go to Facebook, boom, they're going to see you. And so as far kind of going back to the church candy ad spend budget calculator, I recommend as a minimum $500 to $600 a month for ad spend. Obviously, the more you spend, the more people you're going to have visit. And so it's also going to depend on the size of your church and kind of what you guys can afford to allocate towards that. But let's go ahead and move on, guys. So I want to talk through how to actually get the Google Ads grant. So this is, the kind of the walkthrough portion. And so if you have questions, we are going to send out a replay after this. So don't feel like you have to like open up a new tab and be like, wait, can you go back, Brady? We will send out a replay to everyone watching live. So you'll be able to come back and kind of use this as a step-by-step guide as you get the Google Ads grant. So first thing you want to do is go to google.com/grants. At the very bottom, it's going to say start with ads grant in 3 simple steps. Get started, press that button at the bottom. Then it's going to take you to this page, and it's kind of weird. The apply button is like just a highlighted button with a hyperlink on it. It's not an actual button. So on the very first step where it says apply for Google for nonprofits, just click where it says apply. And then once you do that, it's going to take you to this page where it's going to have you answer a few questions to determine if you're eligible. Now, these questions are going to be like, okay, do you have a TechSoup account? So TechSoup is, it's actually really cool. If you don't have a TechSoup account, this is something that I do recommend checking out because it has just a lot of cool perks for 501c3s. Like I've heard of people getting the full Microsoft suite at a really good discount because of TechSoup. And so it's a third-party partner with Google where they just check and make sure that you are actually a 501c3. And so let's go and continue. They're going to let you know if you say no, because most of you guys probably don't have a TechSoup account. If you say no, then they're just letting you know, hey, TechSoup, our partner, they're going to confirm and kind of do their thing. And so you just need to say next. It's fine. And now there's a couple of questions that you need to make sure you know the answer for before you go and apply. First off is not just your church's name, but the legal name of the organization. Like ours, I think was Vibrant Houston, Texas, or Vibrant Church Houston, Texas, or something. It wasn't just Vibrant Church. So it was one of those things, whatever you registered, whenever you got your 501c3, you need to make sure you have that, as well as your EIN number. So that's important. You want to make sure you have that handy. And then it's going to ask things like, okay, what's a good contact email address in your church's website? Asking for an address, and then you would select, religious activities, religious organization, and then it's going to ask for your mission statement. So pretty straightforward. The biggest thing is just making sure you guys have access and your church's EIN number as well as the legal name of the organization, because they're going to use that to verify the account. Now, once you fill out all those forms and answered that question, it's going to take you to this screen. And so check your email for the next steps. So TechSoup's going to follow up, and then it's going to have your email address. And that typically takes a couple of days. And once it's verified, then you're going to be able to activate the Google Ads grant for your church. It's very simple. We just set this up for a church, and within 2 days, they got the verification back. And so it was very, very quick and easy. They're going to give you a new ads account. So if you already have one, if you've been running ads for your church already, actually paying for them, you don't need to do that. You will be able to just use a new Google Ads account that they give you that has the credit. Now, Thank you so much for going through that walkthrough. If you want some more help on getting new church guests with social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Google, you can go to churchcandy.com and schedule a call with me and my team. We'd be happy to chat and see if this would be a good fit for you and your church. See you in the next video.